Andy Mitten, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And a buoyant Andy Mitten, I suspect, this morning after a signature performance from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last night.
Yeah, please keep ringing me midweek after Champions League games. Last week it was Paris. Next week I'll be in Istanbul if everything goes to plan. And last night Manchester United beat RB Leipzig. That's not Red Bull Leipzig, like I mistakenly called them.
I think you
to
can
Ole
continue.
Gunnar Solskjaer.
I think you can continue calling them Red Bull. I think we should just do it. I'm happy. I'm happy to be your ally in this. I called them that earlier on. You know what? They are what they are.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I managed to slip in energy drink Leipzig into the copy of one of the pieces that I wrote. But it was a fantastic result for Manchester United, following on from the equally good result against Paris last week. In the space of a week, Manchester United have beaten the Champions League finalists away and beaten the Champions League semi-finalists at home 5-0. 5-0. I mean, it's two incredibly good results, and surprising, both of them, because Red Bull Leipzig, RB Leipzig, Reisenballen Leipzig, whatever made-up word you want to use, are top of the Bundesliga. They're unbeaten. They didn't lose a single away game in the Champions League last season. After Manchester United went ahead after 21 minutes with Mason Greenwood's first ever shot in the Champions League, I think we saw from the Germans just how good they are. They were not on the back foot at all. They pressured Manchester United. But United are looking fitter. They're adapting very well to the frequent changes of formations in games. And it's something that, even when the mood sunk after the start of the season, I mean, I speak to a lot of people at the club and they just maintained, look, this is only because we had 4 days pre-season training. Normally we have 26 or 27. It will come together. And it is coming together. And people at the club have also said to me, there's going to be more bumps along the way. We're not at Manchester City or Liverpool's level yet. And this is a plan which is going to take time, and there's going to need to be patience. And if fans don't have the patience and they want to change the manager, then carry on doing that cycle. What has happened at Manchester United since 2013? And I've always pushed back against that and said, okay, I get that. And I think that the fans, especially at matches, although we can't measure that, have been patient. But if you lose at home to Palace and get outplayed, if you lose 6-1 at home to Tottenham, there's only going to be a wave of criticism. United hadn't won any of the first 3 league games, and that's not good enough. So to win a game at Old Trafford and to win it so convincingly, and for Marcus Rashford to score a hat-trick in, 16 minutes, it was incredible. And that will really lift the confidence of the players, many of whom are looking far more confident than they were a month ago anyway. I speak specifically about the defence: Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, David De Gea. They were all absolutely fantastic. And they're beating the best teams in the world now. Now, I don't expect Manchester United to be winning the Champions League, or not even coming close, if I'm honest, but they're not making a bad fist of it so far. And compare the mood now after the 2 games with the mood online when that draw was made. And there were so many Manchester United fans saying, we'll be out by Christmas. We're going back into the Europa League. There was just this prevailing wall of absolute doom. And I hope that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is laughing his socks off this morning. He's still got a long way to go. He's still got a big job to do. But that was a fantastic result last night, as it was in Paris a week ago.
What was your initial reaction to seeing that they were going with a diamond formation in midfield? And were you surprised with how well it worked last night?
I trust him. I mean, he makes mistakes, but he sees that team every day, and he's far better qualified to pick it than the critics who are absolutely slaughtering the formations before the games have begun. Now, fans are entitled to have an opinion, but before Newcastle a couple of weeks ago, the vitriol was pernicious. It really was. And these are people calling themselves Manchester United fans. And then United won 4-1, scored brilliant goals, and they just melt away. Or there's a little bit of, I've got to hold my hands up. Well, there's quite a lot of that going on at the moment. And the league table doesn't make for good reading, but the season is still very young, and United have got a game in hand. And I don't expect Manchester United to win the Premier League this year, but I am seeing an increase in sophistication with the tactics, something which Ole Gunnar's critics have used as a stick to beat him. And yet he beat Manchester City away twice last year, Chelsea away twice last year, beating Paris Saint-Germain away twice. he's beating some of the best teams in the world, and he's making mid-game changes, like in Paris last week, when the back 3 or 5 reverted to a 4 when Paul Pogba came on. Like last night, there were 5 changes last night, and Donny van der Beek got his first start at Old Trafford, and I thought he did well. I thought Fred was excellent, and I thought the defence was good, De Gea was good, all over the pitch. You're picking out very minor faults, but Sir Alex Ferguson always said, if you've got 8 of your 11 playing well, then you're going to win a game, and 8 of the 11 did play really well last night. This United team need more consistency, and they've had a very good 10 days now, but they've got to get more consistency. We can't keep having these slumps. That said, there's going to be setbacks along the way, and Ole Gunnar has never hidden that.
The big knock on Solskjaer has been that he hasn't been experienced or exposed enough to these games and a club this size and the responsibility that comes with that, and that we haven't seen him evolve to the point where we know how he's going to respond tactically, or that he has the wherewithal to do that. What we've seen over the last while is that he's beginning to answer some of those questions match on match on match. And it's particularly interesting to me that these performances came after the international break, where there's a bit of opportunity to sit back, relax, reflect, respond to the evidence of the previous matches. That's a very good sign, I would say, if you're not just going on the basis of the results, right? Because freak results can happen.
Yeah, they can. And in the benefit of hindsight, I'd agree with you. But I tell you, 2 weeks ago, at the end of that international break, I was not feeling good about Manchester United at all, because I knew that they were not even going to have one training session together because of the whole squad, because players were still coming back late from international duty. The previous game had been the 6-1 against Tottenham. You're absolutely right. When he has time to prepare a team, he tends to do it very well. They came back very strong after that break in Marbella, after a previous break in Dubai. But he's not having any time to prepare teams now, because there's games are coming thick and fast, and the Champions League is a lot higher level than the Europa League. And I was watching that first half last night thinking, this is top quality football. This is really good that a team is coming to Old Trafford, taking the game to Manchester United, top quality players throughout. This is what you get in the Champions League. That's why you need the type of squad that Manchester United are building towards. Look at the players who came off the bench last night. Marcus Rashford coming off the bench last night. Top player. And there were good players coming off, and he needs that, because if there's going to be 60 games or 50 games, then players are going to get injured, and there's just this sheer intensity. And even now there are major issues with the scheduling, issues where the coaches can't come out publicly and say what they really think, because they've done a deal with television, and television is all powerful. But there's a feeling among them that there's just this relentlessness, and it's going to be very, very difficult. And I suspect it's true, and people don't always want to hear that. But when you get results like that against RB Leipzig, then all of those worries just ebb away.
Are you seeing a player in Fred now, Andy, that a midfield can be built around? That you talk about how they will chop and change as the season goes on, and they need to, but there does need to be a little bit of consistency, and Fred possibly is the anchor of the entire team as we go forward into the next couple of weeks and months.
I think Fred and Matic, they give a platform for that team, which is very effective. It's stable. I thought he did very well in Paris last week. I gave him a 7. And then had quite a lot of complaints saying, why have you only given him a 7? But I actually said he played very well, and I thought 7 was a good mark. And then I looked at L'Équipe the next day. I bought it at Orly Airport, and they'd given him a 4. And I thought, how could you give Fred 4 out of 10 when he played as well as that? But they did do. So maybe they were sore losers in Paris. And then last week again, after that, this week, I thought he did really well. He lost the ball once in the first half, pushing it forward in quite a dangerous position, but he was involved directly in the first and the third goal. The first goal, he won the ball back. The third goal, he agitated and won the ball back again. And I thought he had a really good game. And he's had a 7, and that 7 is a compliment. Okay, I've given Marcus Rashford a 9. And maybe it's weighing a little bit heavily that I didn't give Fred an 8, but I've backed Fred. I mean, I've spoke to him since he came to the club. and he's not able to speak English, so I was always able to converse with him. And I know that he had a really difficult first year, and I can remember speaking to him in the mix zone in Basel away, and it was tough. And if we go back a year, it was getting really, really tough, to the point that I was hearing, who actually signed Fred? Who's responsible for Fred coming? Because this is disgraceful. And then things started to go well for him. He was the man of the match in the Manchester derby away on December the 9th last year. And he's become a very important player. One who played more outfield games last year than any player up until Bruno Fernandes arrived. He played fewer games with Fernandes, but I think that Ole Gunnar is realising now that he can really trust Fred. And he's saying that, and with that, Fred's confidence soars.
So Rashford got, what, a 3 from L'Equipe last night, maybe, which is an excellent score. Ger, I think you were making the point earlier on that this is possibly Rashford's best chance at discovering his very best form in his career so far. Where do you think he is on the graph of the greatness we've seen already in his early career, Andy?
Rashford came back from a very serious injury and struggled, having been really effective before January 2020. He has really come into form in the last couple of weeks. He knows that he's still got a couple of levels to jump before he becomes a world-class player. He's absolutely motivated to do that, and he's playing in different positions now. He's getting very specialised coaching and knows that he has to get in more dangerous areas to score goals more often, knows that he's more effective on the half turn than with his back to goal. But we're seeing the fruits of his hard work. And when he plays up front and combines with Greenwood and Martial, it's really exciting for Manchester United fans. And I just hope that Edinson Cavani can fit into that, because they're going to need more than 3 strikers. And Dan James started against Chelsea at the weekend, and he's probably been the poorest player, and maybe things will come good for him, and he'll certainly get more chances with Ole Gunnar. And I think that Cavani will probably, that those 4 would now be the main 4 who are fighting for those 3 places, depending on what formation Ole Gunnar Solskjaer plays. Because last night it looked like Donny van der Beek was initially the main forward, and he did well. He's got good vision. He's good in tight spaces, and I thought he did well. I gave him a 7. Maybe Fred should have had an 8, or Donny should have had a 6. But this is the angst I've got to live with.
What did Pogba get?
I thought Pogba did well, actually. And I think he got a 7, and I've got such a good memory. I'm now going to recheck that when I'm looking to you what I've given him. And people tend to pull ratings apart because they just do. It's so subjective, isn't it? And how dare you say that? He's definitely worth this. Pogba 7. He looked up for it, nice turns and skill, ran towards goal to set up Greenwood's opener, encouraging. Yeah, I stand by every word there. I thought it was a really good performance from Paul Pogba, and a much needed one as well, because he started the season poorly and needed to become more inconsistent. And it was a big call for Ole Gunnar to drop him, and I think he made the right decision dropping him. And if you're Paul Pogba now thinking, I'm actually playing in a decent side here, and I've got to work my nut off to stay in this side, but I thought he had a decent game last night against a really good team.
Well, look, I think the team selection last night was very brave. When you consider all the noise that had been around the club, the Illuminati from Ajax weighing in, what the hell is Van de Beek doing? He's gone to the wrong club. Why aren't they playing him? This is ridiculous. And then he plays. Pogba dropped up to the point where it's a massive Champions League game. Bruno doesn't start the game, which we haven't even spoken about. That's a huge decision for, you've got to win this game. But he obviously decided that he saw something where he felt like the team's fitness was going to have an impact in the second half, and you can bring the cavalry on. And, again, maybe it's a fluke, right? But it's a fluke coming off the back of 2 other really good performances from the manager, which would suggest that it isn't a fluke, and that actually he's beginning to fully understand and utilise the powers. Can we see Van de Beek and Pogba play consistently in the same team starting, do you think?
I think the games will be shared around, because look at what happened at the end of the previous 2 seasons. They were exhausted. So he's got that in mind, Ole Gunnar, and he keeps saying it. And I think he's just going to keep changing. I don't think you're going to see a settled first 11. And that was my understanding when Van der Beek was brought, that he wasn't brought in to become a star midfielder. He was brought in to add quality to a squad which would need it, especially with Champions League football. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be times where, even if you look at the Chelsea game last week, United came from Paris back into a really tough game, and Chelsea also played away in Europe, if I'm not mistaken, and Manchester City had played away in Europe, and it was difficult for all of them. And I don't think fans fully realise that, and I don't until it's explained to me. When people say, look, these are the readings when they're coming back. You can't just perform miracles midweek and then expect to do exactly the same against a really, really top team. I think Van der Beek's had a decent start. I disagreed strongly with Marco van Basten saying a play like this being used 6 or 7 times per season. I think it'll be used 36 or 37 times this season for Manchester United. I've not been told of any issues whatsoever with Donny van der Beek. And there are no sacred cows. Players will be dropped. And if Ole Gunnar is bold enough to go with courage in his own convictions, then that's what a manager should do, even if it goes against the grain of the consensus, with people saying you should always start with your best team, including former Manchester United players. But maybe there's a reason why some of them are not managing and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is managing.
Yeah, and look, he definitely seems to have the courage of his own convictions, which is all you can ask for. If he's going to go out, he's going to go out swinging. One last point, our own Owen Sheehan is with us on the call, said feeding 1 billion kids is one thing, but giving a penalty away on a hat-trick is immediate sword in the shoulder stuff. Marcus Rashford, like, what a good human being he is.
Yeah, he's good. People have known that for a long time. His drive with the meals for the kids, it comes from the heart, it comes from his own experience. He had a very challenging upbringing. He left home when he was very young to be closer to Carrington, and he's very driven with this, and we're seeing that. And obviously there's help around him, and there's a very sophisticated self around him as well. But he will be judged by Manchester United fans primarily for what he does on the pitch. I think that they're all largely supportive of what he's doing off it. Not everybody is, but I think the vast majority are. And he's doing incredible. I mean, a hat-trick in the Champions League against the Bundesliga leaders inside 16 minutes. And the way which he took the goal after the linesman had flagged for offside, he just kept his calm and he finished. And I thought that showed real maturity. And he's getting better. And he knows he's got to get better if he's going to become the world-class player that he wants to become.
Yeah, he's definitely trending in the right direction anyway. Andy, always great to have you with us. Thanks a million.
Thank you.